Today we'll talk about extracorporeal membrane oxygenation. So ECMO is a standard treatment for respiratory failure in newborns and pediatric patients who fail to develop conventional therapy. The survival rate is 88% for neonates and 71% in pediatric population. And based on the experience in children, protocols are established for the management of adults with severe ARDS, and the patients are characterized by profound hypoxemia, and despite the optimal mechanical ventilatory treatment. ECMO has been successfully utilized in patients with hypoxemic hypercapnic respiratory failure as a bridge to transplant in the end-stage pulmonary disease and severe pulmonary air leaks, massive pulmonary embolism, and cardiopulmonary arrest. It is not indicated in those patients that are um, have irreversible condition unless being used as a bridge to transplant. The physiological goals for ECMO is to achieve the adequate end organ perfusion by normalizing pH, maximizing oxygen delivery, and by clearing the lactate. ECMO is initiated in severe ARDS in 45% of patients with PaO2 oblique FiO2 ratio of less than 74 percent. So this is the ECMO circuit. ECMO involves placing of veno-venous or veno-arterial life support pumps circuit with a membrane oxygenator to temporarily provide the oxygenation of and CO2 removal. VV is a preferred mode to support the isolated respiratory failure. For VA, access is used when the systemic arterial perfusion support is necessary in addition to ventilatory support. When placing a patient on ECMO, one must consider strategies for cannulation, anticoagulation, and ventilation, lung protective versus total lung rest. So this is a circuit for ECMO showing the arterial pump, oxygenator, and bladder and cannulas. The bladder is 30 to 50 mils of reservoir at the lowest point of the ECMO circuit, serves as an air trap and typically has an access port to remove any air collected. Shock absorber is the in that blood that drains into the bladder is growing dependent and then gets drawn actively via the ECMO pump. If the negative pressure generated by the pump gets too high, the very compliant bladder collapses down, which sends a signal to the pump to slow down and relieving the high negative pressure. So as we discussed, the types of ECMO are VA ECMO and VV ECMO. So the cannulation strategies are based on the patient goals of cannulation. What blood flow requirements in adults is 40 to 80 mils with the cardiac output is equal to 2.4 into body surface area. Is there LV ejection? The oxygen saturation depends on the flow and oxygen saturation of the blood from both ECMO circuit and blood ejected by the left ventricle. In the femoral VA cannulation, there is a potential for upper body hypoxemia because proximal branches of the aorta receive predominantly deoxygenated blood ejected from the left heart, and in this situation does not arise if the pulmonary function is good or the return to cannula is placed centrally, aorta or axillary. The size of the vessels that are used as a cannulation site, central versus peripheral, ultrasound guided versus percutaneous approach could be used. And we can use the ECMO as bridge to recovery or bridge to transplant or bridge to decision. And the physiological deficits such as hypercapnia, right heart failure, left heart failure, biventricular failure. This is a parallel ECMO versus a series ECMO. And here we have outlined the differences between VA ECMO and VV ECMO. That's a central VA ECMO. That's a peripheral VA ECMO shown in the diagram. The RVAD versus ECMO. VV ECMO using 2 cannulas. That's VV ECMO using double-stage single cannula approach. So single cannula eliminates the need for groin cannulation. It has easier mobilization of the patient. There is a bridge to transplant and can be used for bridge to recovery. A special configuration to support RV with ECMO, including the double lumen single cannula, 2 cannula technique. So the ECMO complications are related to the patient comorbidities, patient condition, ECMO circuit itself, and the use technique like VA ECMO, specific complication, or VV ECMO. Circuit complication could be clotting, air in the circuit, oxygenator problems, and mechanical pump failure. So VA ECMO cannulation related complications, cardiac thrombosis, coronary and cerebral hypoxia. Vascular complications include cannulation-related complications, vessel perforation, arterial dissection, incorrect location, and development of pseudoaneurysms. So here you can see N2-side chimney graft and T graft, and these can lead to distal perfusion problems. Anticoagulation strategies need to be weighed with the risk and benefits of anticoagulation. The risk of not using anticoagulation include the thrombosis and circuit failure, oxygenator pump and cannula, as well as thromboembolic complications including pulmonary emboli, stroke, mesenteric ischemia, and limb ischemia. Risk of anticoagulation include bleeding and heparin-induced thrombocytopenia. The basic anticoagulation includes heparin, 3000 units per kg at the time of cannulation with maintenance 10 mg per kg per hour, and this is monitored by ACT. Goal is 1.5 to that of normal. And the left ventricular thrombus is formed if the anticoagulation is not proper and can lead to serious complication. It is prevented by switch of peripheral cannulation to central with LV1, keep the patient on inotropic drugs, adding peripheral impella and percutaneous atrial septostomy, and if it happens then needs anticoagulation. Lung protection strategy is governed by the principle that oxygenation is modulated primarily by blood flow rate. Ventilator management should be volume and pressure limited. Lung rest is an opinion and option, and PEEP is maintained with airway patency at low tidal volumes but not proven. The influence of the PEEP on the reduction of the left ventricular compliance may be a matter of concern for the patient receiving ECMO support for the cardiac failure. A lung rest ventilation strategy may be optimal as the effect of the airway pressure on the right and left ventricle afterload should be considered. Patients are weaned from ECMO when improvements are seen in hemodynamic stability, lung compliance, and arterial oxygenation. The conversion of the standard lung protective ventilation should occur, and the patient is decannulated and the parameters remain clinically reasonable at 30 minutes or minimal or no support. After weaning, the patients are maintained on mechanical ventilatory and extubation until the extubation criteria are met. Results after the application of the ECMO to severe ARDS patient shows decannulation in 67% patients and 52% survival. ECMO in adults with ARDS has not been widely adopted due to specialization in particular centers and misperception of the cost concerns of heparinization, hemolysis, and coagulopathy. Technical complication is inexperience. Preoperative ECMO has previously considered a contraindication to lung transplantation Following the initiation of the lung allocation score system in 2005, the donor lungs are allocated with priority to those with the greatest pulmonary dysfunction, and the recent studies have shown ECMO, especially VV ECMO, as a bridge to transplantation in an acceptable option to those in respiratory failure until the donor lungs are available. As the bridge, this approach avoids the complication of long-term mechanical ventilation, intubation, and anesthesia. So, Harlequin syndrome, the coronary cerebral hypoxia, up to 88% of the peripheral VA ECMO, the fully saturated blood infused peripherally into the femoral artery from the ECMO circuit and will preferentially perfuse the lower extremities and abdominal viscera, and the blood ejected from the heart will selectively perfuse the heart, brain, and upper extremity. And it is fixed by increasing the PEEP. If you still need ECMO support, central cannulation, axillary or carotid, VA or VV ECMO circuit, second arterial outflow cannula via the right IJT to the heart, and if heart recovers, decannulate and think of Impala as an alternative. Thank you.